Vice President Kamala Harris has tested positive for COVID-19. Her office shared yesterday. The vice president plans to isolate until she tests negative. However, President Biden will not be quarantining. The Veep is not considered a close contact.
Did you get that? Not a close contact. It's hilarious. The administration maintains that Vice President Harris is asymptomatic, leading some experts to question her use of the Paxlovid COVID-19 antiviral treatment pill. As reported by the New York Post, quote, Paxlovid is designed to reduce severe symptoms among high-risk patients, which has some experts questioning why it would be prescribed to a healthy, double-boosted, and asymptomatic 57-year-old patient. Just this week, the Biden administration expanded Americans' access to Paxlovid. In clinical trials, the drug has been shown to reduce the risk of COVID hospitalization by 90%. So I don't know. I mean, I guess you can say, well, she's not like other people. She's an important person.
Next in line to lead the free world. And yeah, I get it. But by the same token, it is bad optics.
Yeah.
You know, and that's not the only part of this is bad optics. People were commenting on the fact that she said she was going to stay out until she tested negative, longer than the CDC recommendation of 5 days to go back to work regardless. And so again, it's this do what I say, not what I do.
They just don't need her back in the office until.
Right. Well, did you see the picture they released of her hard at work, working from home that I think her husband posted? It's one of these kind of, everyone does it. I don't mean to pick on her in particular, but these kind of charming stage shots where there's no computer to be seen. You know, like when you're watching a Tyler Perry movie and it's like, I'm at an office, but there's like
when I'm watching
no
a
desk.
Tyler Perry movie. I've never watched a Tyler Perry movie before, Briahna.
I don't know your life, Rob. I'm not trying to put you in a box. But when you're kind of watching a cheaply made movie when they haven't given much thought to like how to stage the person as the profession they're supposed to have. Oh, I'm an architect, so I'm wearing these glasses, right?
Sure.
But there's
sure. I've got a wrench, so I'm
a plumber.
Wrench repairman? No, you use the wrench for repairs.
But you know, she's sitting at a desk with like a piece of paper and pen in front of her. And maybe, look, I don't know what it takes to be the vice president. Maybe there's a lot of paper
writing
documents.
by hand.
What has to review?
A lot of writing by hand, yeah. If you don't have a computer in front of you, you're not doing work, is the reality of in a white-collar working environment.
Correct. So, you know, it is what it is. You know, she takes her licks. But I think the real concern here is that, you know, I've had people in my life, people in her age bracket and older, who have recently, you know, gotten COVID and been, you know, told they have to return to the office by a different metric than someone like Kamala Harris. And in ways that seem to be obviously against common sense science. You know, it's not about whether you're not a test negative. It's about whether, you know, 5 days out, you're supposed to go back. And that, to me, like, I know that we're coming from this COVID skepticism from a different perspective. I think you would like there to be less restrictions, and I don't want them to be more, but I do want them to be more finely attuned to what would actually prevent the spread of COVID if we believe that there are things you could do to prevent the spread of COVID. And moments of, again, political theater, COVID theater like this don't help.
I think she could go ahead and take the rest of the year if she wants to.
I mean, the bit about not being considered a close contact, I mean, it's an easy gag, but also just consider what that means about how frequently she must not be meeting with the president.
Yeah. It's truly like, I am rewatching, I just finished rewatching it, Veep, which is where Selena Meyer, played by Julia Louis-Dreyfus, is always, in the early seasons at least, before she becomes the president. Did the president ask for me? Can I meet with him? And the president's never shown because he's not, they don't need to show him because she never gets an audience with him.
And maybe your point about Veep, it's maybe not a Kamala Harris specific thing, and maybe it's not fair to say that this is, you know, she's particularly, like, a particularly impotent VP. But it doesn't help with all of the leaks that have come out of her office over the course of the past year and all of the staff fleeing to have this as the cherry on top.
It's a difficult job because it's not really a job. There's not a lot to do. You know, it's really just to smooth out the ticket. But given that is really the only expectation, I would not say she's done particularly well. She doesn't seem to bring a lot. She's less popular than he is. I don't think she's more popular than he is with any specific demographic. I don't think there are
Black people never supported Kamala Harris. Bernie outflanked her. She couldn't win her own state. All of these things down the line. There was this belief that she was going to bring Black voters in. And you can still see Joe Biden really trying to milk the Supreme Court pick, really emphasizing these symbolic elements. I heard he spoke with the CBC, Congressional Black Caucus, about a month ago, and there's all this emphasis on Juneteenth and all of these issues that are ultimately very superficial when you look at the things that Black voters are asking for, especially in the context of the summer of 2020. And I don't know that that's going to keep working. I think a lot of people are hip to the game at this point. And if we were picking Black women who are going to bring a new constituency to Joe Biden, you know, he could consider a leftist pick for this easy desk job going forward. Look, I can sit here and pretend to write on a piece of paper all day, even without COVID, you know?
Absolutely. Briahna for VP. No, I don't want to lose another co-host, so no, bad idea. But otherwise, yes. The whole, I don't know. I want Paxlovid to be available to more Americans. Obviously, you know, whatever administrative hangups are in the way, and I'm sure there were considerable ones. You know, the CDC could have moved, the FDA could have moved 1,000 times faster, I'm sure. It's great that this really does seem to work in the cases where you get it early enough and you were going to have a severe outcome. But so maybe we should probably get to a point where we just have enough of it and it's approved enough to I guess to give to everyone over a certain age, probably, if they're diagnosed. But I don't think that would have applied really in Kamala's case.
Yeah, I mean, again, she is second in line, and I understand that there are some reasonable different standards here, but it's not a good look.
When my grandparents got it, my grandfather is an older man. I think he's almost 90, and they were, you know, vaccinated. They're a fine case, and they didn't get very sick. But I remember talking to my mom on the phone and being like, "Well, are they going to give Grandpa the whatever it's called? I didn't know what it was called at the time." And apparently they thought no, because he had a very mild case.
Interesting. But isn't the point that you give it early enough before you know if it's going to be a mild case? That's what
I was saying, yeah, on the phone. But right then I'm like, am I the doctor? Am I the expert? Like, shouldn't you? Again, I don't mean to be disparaging of the medical profession, but it was like, shouldn't that just be what is done in this case? And it wasn't. Yeah,
I mean, I'm glad that he's fine. So the doctor recommended advice worked out.
But older people should. Yeah. I don't know. It's weird. But so Kamala's gonna be down for the count for 5 days. So did she announced that she's gonna stay longer? That's what she said?
No, she said she's gonna stay out until she tests negative.
Until she tests negative, right.
Which seems very reasonable to me, but is not what other people are asked to do.
Some people, right, because you can continue. Well, you can continue to test positive though,
correct,
and be no longer presumably able to spread it, right? Because you could have dead particles of the virus. Well, so I took a new last week. The audience probably remembers when I dramatically lost my voice on set, succumbed to bronchitis in the middle of this broadcast. So I did go home and make sure I didn't have COVID. So I took one of these new tests. I've never taken this one before. I actually had to download an app on my phone, which I did not like.
Yeah.
And then you set.
Robby.
I didn't like. Well, I don't like having more apps. And anything that asks you to download an app on your phone, I'm like, please. God, no. So then you set the test next to the phone, and you swab the nostrils, you stick the thing in the test, and then a timer starts on your phone, and after 15 minutes, you can it reads like it's electronic, like it's Bluetooth thing with the phone. So that was so I assume that test was more accurate, I guess, because that's a lot of there's a lot more steps than just the other ones.
Yeah,
and it costs
steps.
Like
more bureaucracy.
$30 or something.
That's what makes things right. My libertarian friend.
That's what we're supposed to feel confident. So I felt very confident in my negative results.
Well, I'm glad.
Here I am, a mere 4 days later.
You love to see it, Robby.
All right, tomorrow on Rising, we will pass the baton over to Ryan Grimm and Emily Jashinsky for their new Friday show, Rising Fridays. And they have some great stuff planned for you, so you don't want to miss that.
Be sure to like, share, and subscribe so you never miss any content. And for those of you who like to listen while on the go, that's me, we are now available anywhere you listen to podcasts.
Yes, definitely check that out, and we will see you next week. Watch Ryan and Emily show tomorrow, and take care.
Goodbye.